Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. My name is Art Connor, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Lots to talk about today. We've shifted our program around as a result of the weather system and the Cayman Islands being under a tropical storm warning. So lots to talk about. Please stay tuned. Talk Today will be back shortly.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. ORRETT Connor filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Cayman Islands, as you may have heard, or if you haven't, you will hear it now. We're currently under a tropical storm warning that is in effect as I speak. We know that Jamaica, as of this morning as well, we're under a tropical storm warning for impending tropical storm Hurricane Storm Grace, and I will share with you the most recent weather notification for the Cayman Islands. So, tropical storm warning is in effect for the Cayman Islands. Tropical storm conditions are expected within the next 24 hours. A general westward to west-northwestward motion is expected for the next several days. On the forecast track, the center of Grace will move near the northern coast of Jamaica this afternoon. Grace is forecast to move near the Cayman Islands tonight, just southwest of Grand Cayman at around 4 a.m. on Wednesday, and then approach the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico late Wednesday or early Thursday. A flood and marine warning is also in effect. Residents are urged to continue monitoring the development of Tropical Storm Grace. I should also advise you that the National Hazard Management Committee met at 11 o'clock today. They may still be in a meeting now, but we have extended an invitation for them, if it is possible for them to come on to talk today, to issue any alerts, to quell any apprehensions that persons may have, or to answer any questions that individuals may have as well. We know that they're extremely busy, and this was on short notice, but we're hoping and trusting that someone from either Hazard Management or the National Weather Service will be able to come into the studio. We are due to have a guest at 1:30, but until then, we will be able to accommodate them as well. As far as Jamaica is concerned, the Jamaica Gleaner reported at around 9:41 this morning, and they noted that as Tropical Storm Grace increases in strength and continues to move towards the northern coastline of Jamaica, a tropical storm warning is now in effect for the entire island. This means that tropical storm conditions, including possible sustained wind speeds of 34 to 63 knots or 63 to 118 kilometers per hour are expected to affect Jamaica within 36 hours or less. That is what the Met Service reported there. They also pointed out that at 7 a.m., the center of Tropical Storm Grace was located near latitude 18.2 degrees north, longitude 76.1 degrees west. That made it about 32 kilometers east of Port Antonio, or about 120 miles east of Montego Bay, Jamaica. They also pointed out that maximum sustained winds are now near 45 miles an hour, with higher gusts, and gradual strengthening is forecast during the next couple of days. Tropical force winds extend outwards up to 45 miles from the center. Grace is moving towards the west, near 16 miles per hour, and a general westward to west-northwestward motion is expected during the next several days. On the forecast track, the center of Grace will move near Jamaica's northern parishes today, then continue towards the Cayman Islands tonight. The Met Service says Tropical Storm Grace is expected to produce 4 to 6 inches of rainfall over Jamaica today as it spreads towards widespread showers and thunderstorms across the island. Flash flooding and landslides should be expected. Strong gusty winds will also be experienced across the island. That is Jamaica we're talking about now. Strong gusty winds will also be experienced across the island, especially over northern parishes today. Marine interests are further advised to remain in port until all warning messages have been lifted and sea conditions have returned to normal. That was for Jamaica. That was published in the Jamaica Gleaner this morning, and we will hear more that is applicable to the Cayman Islands during the course of this show as well. And as I said earlier, hopefully we will have someone either from Hazard Management Cayman or from the National Weather Service. Speaking of, should I say the devil or savior, which one? But we're happy to see Mr. Simon Boxall enter the studio. So what we will do now, we will take a commercial break. And when we return, we will have a conversation with Mr. Simon Boxall from the Hazard Management Cayman. So please stay tuned. Talk Today will be back shortly.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Cayman Coating at 96 Portland Road, Airport Industrial Park. Cayman Coating is your one-stop location for all of your paints and coating needs and their application accessories. Cayman Coating, 949-2920. They've got it all. Just call 949-2920. Cayman Coating.
Welcome, everybody. Good evening to you. Welcome to the Miss Teen Pageant.
The Lions Club and Leo Club of Grand Cayman presents the 40th staging of the Miss Teen Cayman Islands pageant on Saturday, August 28th at the Lions Center. Be there to cheer on these 9 beautiful ladies as they represent their district and vie for the title of Miss Teen Cayman Islands. This is a pageant you don't want to miss. So come and show your support for your favorite contestants Saturday, August 28th at the Lions Center. Gates open at 5 p.m. with showtime at 7 p.m. sharp. Admission is $25 prepaid or $30 at the gate. Limited premium tickets cost $40. Tickets are available at Eventpro, Winner's Circle, Funky Tanks, or from the contestants and Lions members. Sponsored by Digicel, Winner's Circle Sports, CUC, King Sports Center, Finishing Touch, and Radio Cayman.
We's back this Friday for another, you know what it is. Hopefully, we don't get blown away. Next topic for Siwa saying.
This Friday, it's all about bush medicine.
Now, bush medicine don't mean some politician cocoa tea.
You know there's 2 of them, right?
Boy, listen, I just try and clear things up, and you're trying to make this into a bushfire now?
Okay, so what things we are talking about? What you find out?
Well, I found a perfect saying for this weather. It's from Trinidad, but I'm making it ours. 22 hours in the bed. Back to the topic now. One of the things along the line of the bush medicine topic is about aloe versus sempervirus. Remember that one? Find out now, maybe the aloe is the big spotted leaf one, and the sempervirus is a smaller breed or something like that. So that's some things that the callers can help us with. Where you is anyway? Sound like you're in a hole or something?
Yeah, this the virtual me.
Don't matter which one is live or virtual. Still the same old short green to me.
Special feature of Talk Today with contributions from the National Museum, a language, history and culture show on Radio Cayman 89.9 and 93.9 FM.
Join us this Friday.
Same time, 12:15 to 2:30.
And we're going to try to sort out everything.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is Art Connor, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me Mr. Simon Boxall from Hazard Management Cayman, and he is the Awareness and Communications Officer. And do we need to be aware? And do we need to be able to communicate, and for the authorities to communicate with the public of the Cayman Islands at this point in time? My answer is a clear and unequivocal yes, we do. So, Mr. Boxall, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, OC. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for this opportunity.
Okay. I know you're just coming from a meeting, so you can give us the latest update, as far as decisions that are likely to come about.
Yes, that's correct. We just finished up the National Hazard Management Council meeting. Obviously, we had one yesterday as well. And so that brings together the heads of most of the government departments, as you know, because you're one of the people that put the whole mechanism together. So it's being chaired today by the Acting Deputy Governor, Miss Gloria McField-Nixon. And Danny, our director, was there along with Mr. John Tibbetts, who gave us an updated look at it, and just, considering how government's going to react and respond, and what we need to do to make sure we're prepared and that we get back on our feet as quickly as possible, and that our recovery process is efficient and quick.
Okay. Some of the advice that we would give people now, I notice coming into the studio, unusual amount of traffic, even though it was around lunchtime, so you normally would expect it. But a lot of the traffic directed towards our supermarkets and everything. What advice would we give to people at this point in time?
Yes, recognizing a lot of people are working, but really probably if you can get to the supermarket before really the sun goes down, I would say, that would be strongly encouraged. We're anticipating the onset of tropical storm force winds at 8 p.m. in Cayman Brac, and then Little Cayman 9 9 p.m. and then about 1 a.m. In here in Grand Cayman. So the problem is the system is intensifying, and the likelihood that it could actually become a hurricane, on us now is actually increasing. So we're even looking at the potential now of the possibility of a hurricane warning being issued, and we'll look at that at the next update, whether or not that'll occur. But we're expecting very strong wind, gusting almost certainly to hurricane force strength. Particularly Wednesday, extremely heavy rainfall with some estimates of, 9 inches as a maximum, probably between 3 to 6. And again, these very rough seas of 8 to 10 feet. So for those people, say, for instance, in East End, they could be, we've seen in the past, particularly if it tracks to the south, that you can get the water breaching around places like the Savannah Gully area, potentially cutting people off. So, there's some planning that needs to be thought about, and some people, particularly those who've got medical issues, maybe, looking at their options now about sheltering, and we're going to be opening a number of shelters at 5 o'clock today.
Okay.
Emergency medical center in each district. So that would be the William McLaughlin Civic Center in East End, the Bordentown Primary School, the Clifton Hunter High School in Northside, and then we actually have 2 openings in Georgetown. So that'll be John Gray Gym, which is, and then the Red Cross. Bearing in mind that's not sort of disability friendly. So, and then we have the final one we're opening here in Grand Cayman is up at in West Bay at the John A. Cumber Primary School.
Okay,
and we've actually just had a report from the Sister Islands. That they already have the Aston Rutty Centre up and running there. They're very efficient over there.
Yes,
Mr.
they are.
Yes. He's got the government building shuttered up, and so they're in good shape. And then also the Public Works Department in Little Cayman. It's going to be open as well. But obviously with the change in the track, it's actually anticipated to come much closer to Grand Cayman, and we're looking at 13 miles away at the closest point of approach, which is southwest, the closest point. But that can obviously change, a small little deviation, and this thing has been constantly unpredictable.
Okay. So you indicated that the next stage that we could possibly go to would be to a tropical storm watch?
No, we're going to be looking at the possibility of even going to a hurricane watch. It's not a certainty by any means, but it's kind of a difficult call because it's really, anticipated that it's going to turn into a hurricane really right on the cusp of it leaving our area. Okay. So, we'll be looking closely at the next update that comes through from the National Hurricane Center, and then making a decision, with the National Weather Service and the Deputy Governor based on the latest information we have, and recognizing it doesn't give people a huge amount of time to make added preparation.
Okay. Now, for the last year and a half, we've been dealing with COVID-19, and we've all been talking about the fact that if we do have, a hurricane and people have to be housed, how important it was, for people to be vaccinated, or what steps would be taken if persons had to be segregated and everything. Any advice that you can give at this point in time as well in that?
Yeah, it's very much on our radar, Mr. O.C. We've actually had, I think it's 3 people have actually called who are sheltering. We've got over 1,300 people sheltering in private residences, or quarantine rather. So, and I think the possibility of a cancelled British Airways flight tomorrow as well is going to create another logistical issue potentially, because we're looking at the closure of the airport. Pretty much, I think the last flight that comes in from the BRAC this evening at 5 o'clock or so will mean the closure of the airport, and then they'll be looking at it through the day. So getting back to the quarantine issue, we have some plans in place of where we will put people up if they feel like their property is not safe. We mentioned the Savannah Gully area, which is very prone to flooding. We have regiment personnel on standby with the capacity to assist moving people along with Travel Cayman. So, we feel like we will deal with it. It's going to present some logistical challenges, but it's going to happen safely, and we're not going to expose our local population to any undue risks, and they will be housed in hotels. So they're not going to be, in this instance, going into public shelters, for instance. We're not setting aside a quarantine-related shelter specifically. It'll stay within Travel Cayman.
Okay. And it seems as if the private sector have already started to move on this. I've heard of instances where companies are letting their staff leave early, which is a good thing. But what do you say to the private sector, those that have offices, buildings that are quite resilient, and as far as sheltering for their staff is concerned, any advice to them?
Well, that's a great question. We definitely strongly encourage office, facility managers or whatever, CEOs to try to provide space in their offices if they can, especially for their staff and their family members. And if they've got any other space, it's great, because we've always stated that there is a shortage of space, potentially, particularly in Grand Cayman, if we have like an enormous system, and possibly this isn't that one, and particularly in the age of COVID, and shelters are not the most comfortable environments. We anticipate they'll be a safe place, but if you're probably going to be more comfortable in an office, or if you can call a friend or family member and ask them to put you up in their place if it's a strong home. And for pet owners, even though 2 pet shelters will be open this time, Clifton and you have to bring a crate or whatever, and some other things. It's a great option if you can get in one of these strong office buildings. We know that they're built incredibly robust. They're elevated. Storm surge is always a threat for us because we're just so low lying, but this one is not actually anticipated to be a particular storm threat, even though the potential for 8 to 10 foot sort of rough seas could pose some problems. And in fact, they've pulled up some of the planking on the docks in Cayman Brac as well, just to try to make sure they get through safely.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we want to talk, about those persons who are more vulnerable, what we can do for them as far as sheltering is concerned, and in addition to shelters, family members or friends, what can they do to assist those persons who find themselves in vulnerable positions, either from a physical standpoint or from a geographic standpoint in terms of where they're located, and if they're living in areas that are prone to flooding, not necessarily from seawater, but from rainwater as well. So, folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with Mr. Simon Boxall from Hazard Management Cayman will continue after this short commercial break.
Freedom, Cayman Brac. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Summer, the season for backyard gatherings, beach parties, office socials, and camps for kids. Make the most of your summer party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters or double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go, with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your summer with Subway. Visit Subway.ky for menu options. Subway, eat fresh.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed, or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
Spend quality time with your child to show you care about their health, wellness, and success. Celebrate their achievements, forgive their mistakes, listen to them when they have a problem, and show interest in how they plan to solve it. Young people are more likely to listen when their parents are engaged. They know you're on their side. Talk with your child early about making health-conscious decisions for life. For tips, log on to www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. In the studio with me, Mr. Simon Boxall. He is the Awareness and Communications Officer at Hazard Management in Cayman. We're talking about Tropical Storm Grace, and as we speak, the Cayman Islands are under tropical storm warning, and tropical storm conditions are expected within the next 24 hours. We want to talk about those persons who are vulnerable. You mentioned, Mr. Boxall, that shelters will be opening this afternoon as well. I want you to talk some more about that. We also have a question. One person wanted to know whether or not the NRA, whether they have cleared all of the drains in the low-lying areas, especially on Grand Cayman as well. And I guess in that area you can talk about the various clusters that have been established to deal with certain aspects of preparedness as well as recovery.
Yes, and thanks for that question from the member of the community. Yes, so crews of teams from NRA are out in every single district in Grand Cayman, working right now on the drains. It's expected probably that they're not going to get to everywhere, but they are working hard. And in fact, the acting deputy governor suggested even bringing in the private sector to try to work on this, because we know it's a problem. And when you're facing the possibility of a maximum of 9 inches of rain, it's going to be they're going to be areas that are significantly flooded, and we've seen that repeatedly in certain communities. So part of the problem, though, with it is it doesn't sometimes matter so much how much drain clearing you're doing if it comes in on a high tide, which affects the water table, and if you're in a low-lying area. Unfortunately, the hydraulic forces, there's just really nowhere for the water to go. So in some cases, you're just waiting then for the evaporation to take, particularly if you've got impermeable cap rock or not much soil in the area, then you're looking at probably days of standing water. Think about mosquito repellent then if you've got your plan in place. So the second question, I think you were talking more about vulnerable persons, and yes, that's one of the reasons why we think these community emergency response teams are so critical. It's there's been clear indications from past events, not just maybe our own experience with Paloma and Ivan, but also Maria and Irma and places around the Caribbean, that mortality rates for elderly people particularly seem to increase after these sorts of events. So whether or not that's because they don't have an income coming in, so they're not able to bounce back as quickly, and we all kind of age into disability eventually, so our sight, our hearing, our sense of smell, we might end up eating rotten food in the fridge because the power's out. It's very heavy to kind of lift a bag of ice when you're elderly and maybe you don't have a vehicle. So how do you keep your medication cool? So if there's anything you can do, if you're a resident or somebody listening there, now's the time probably to go and knock on the door and just see. Because home ownership's actually pretty high for elderly people, but some of the houses were built before we have these sort of stricter guidelines with planning.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can help them put up shutters, that might just save their roof. If you can make sure they've got a bit of food to get them through for a few days. And some of the people that have the home care assistants and things, maybe now's the time to drop off 3 days supply just in case you can't get back there. But our shelters now, all of the shelters with the exception, I think I mentioned Cayman Islands Red Cross on Holder and Avenue, they're disability friendly. But at the end of the day, a lot of it boils down to the community, to family members, to friends.
Yep. Check on your neighbors, check on your family, make sure that they're okay. And if they feel that they're in a situation, because what we've seen, and the Compass ran an article on this where some persons have still not recovered from Hurricane Ivan as far as their living conditions are concerned. And they highlighted the case of one gentleman who actually is now, he is in a hospital bed, restricted to a hospital bed. I would imagine that someone like that, even though they have done some repairs to his house, would be the type of person that you would want to move from that location and put him in a secure location at this point in time, and other persons who find themselves in similar situations.
Yes. I mean, you said he's in the hospital now.
No, he's at home, but using a hospital bed.
Okay.
Yeah, he's had a stroke and everything.
Wow. Yeah, so it's possible you're not going to be able to get an ambulance or something. So, for people who've got serious health issues and things, then they should be really looking at being in a position where they can access the medical treatment that they need, and that would be one of the emergency medical centers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I know government, in the meeting we just had, the council meeting, they were talking about moving up the dialysis, so everybody's trying to get that today, get that sorted, so we don't necessarily have to worry about that tomorrow. But that's all part of the planning. We ask people, think about it, think about your family members and elderly, even the single mothers, and the single fathers who've got a lot to do whenever these threats are kind of bearing down on us. I mean, some of us are fortunate, we're in better positions than others, so I think it's very important that we look out for our neighbors and our family members and our friends. And that's really what Cayman certainly was all about when I was growing up, and I think a lot of it's still going on, I hope.
So from the forecast, can we go back over the time frame that we're looking at? I'm just looking at the Jamaica Gleaner here and seeing what's happening in Jamaica, because it's moving towards us from Jamaica area. They report that has battered Jamaica's eastern parishes, leaving several streets flooded and fallen trees. In some places, in Portland, for instance, the roads have been reduced to single-lane access. Roadway leading from Dolphin Bay to St. Margaret's Bay, for most part, has been littered with downed trees. And the mayor of Port Antonio, Paul Thompson, is urging persons living in low-lying and flood-prone areas of the parish to be on the alert to evacuate. I would not being, a weather person, but I would say that the conditions are not likely to improve between Jamaica and here over the next few hours.
No,
if anything, they're likely to get worse.
The opposite, exactly.
Yes.
I think all the models indicate additional strengthening. Obviously, when you have mountains, you have possibilities of sort of landslides and landslips, which we're lucky, we don't have, and the rivers washing out and things. But significant rain is forecast, particularly for Wednesday. Most of the rain is looking like it's on the eastern side of the system.
Okay.
So pretty much throughout the day on Wednesday, we're expecting very heavy rain, which poses, potentially, we're hearing about trees down. I think that's a reasonable assumption if we get hurricane force winds, so we're going to be facing that. Even last year we saw power, sort of some of the poles come down. So we could be looking at some power outages, and hopefully we're going to be tuning into Radio Cayman and trying to give people fairly regular updates about outages.
Yes.
Tonight, that's one of the communications tasks we're really trying to improve upon. But yeah, I think, it's always tempting to go out once the wind drops down. But people think that CUC actually shuts down the system to preserve and protect the grid, but they don't. It actually stays up. So people go out before they all clear. They're walking in these floodwaters, some even in kayaks, and potentially there's live wires and things in the water. Yes. So, it all boils down to the, you may lose power. That's why you need the battery-operated radio to tune into Radio Cayman and stuff. You need to wait for the all clear. And you need a little food and water just in case the roads are impassable, you can't get out, and government's focused on the core infrastructure. So some of these feeder roads, may be down there a couple of days before you see clearance and stuff. And we're hoping this one is not a strong one compared to what's possible, but you can't underestimate them, and we've seen over and over again these things intensifying more than expected. So we really hope that's, and it looks very improbable that we're going to get a strong hurricane, for instance. But, we're anticipating for sure tropical storm force winds impacting Sister Island starting at about 8 o'clock, in Cayman Brac, Little Cayman 9 o'clock, and here in Grand Cayman around 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Should be fairly short duration event though, 6 or 7 hours.
Okay.
But then, as I explained earlier, a longer period of rain. So that 3 to 6 inches is probably going to be over a two-day period, potentially up to a maximum of 9 inches. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder, very strong winds at times, gusting above hurricane force, but sustained probably between 45 miles an hour and 69 miles an hour. It's a strong wind. And then with the potential for 8 to 10 foot seas, hopefully that's not going to present an issue too much for homes, because we're expecting it largely to impact the south side of the island, which has got the reef, which should break it a bit. But
okay, we've reached the top of the hour. I think we have news time. The conversation with Mr. Simon Boxall, Awareness and Communications Officer at Hazard Management Cayman, will continue after this short commercial break, so please stay tuned.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
A tropical storm warning, a flood warning, and a marine warning remain in effect for the Cayman Islands as Tropical Storm Grace heads west to cross the Caribbean. At the latest check, Grace was located at 18.3 degrees north, 76.8 degrees west. That's about 219 miles east-southeast of Cayman Brac, 307 miles east of Grand Cayman. The storm has max winds of 50 miles per hour and is moving towards the west at 15. The center of Grace is expected to pass south of Little Cayman tonight and just southwest of Grand Cayman by early Wednesday morning. Hazard Management Director Danielle Coleman tells Radio Cayman the government is ready.
It's going to be a really good test exercise, even if it's not a particularly big storm at this time. It's going to be a great test to see if we have any bigger storms in the future, this year or next year. We can make sure we're using our time wisely and learning the best practices and so forth.
If you need information about how best to prep for the storm, head to caymanprepared.ky. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Captain Charles Gerald Kirkconnell, 1891 to 1961. Charles Gerald Kirkconnell was born and raised on Cayman Brac. He was married to Olivine Elizabeth Eden of Grand Cayman, and the couple had 3 children. Captain Charlie was one of the founding brothers of the shipping and merchandising firm of R.B. Kirkconnell and Brothers Limited. Many Caymanian seamen were trained on Kirk vessels and later worked for national bulk carriers. Captain Charlie was also a shipbuilder who built the largest ship ever to be built in the Cayman Islands, the M.V. Kirksons. He and the late Bertie Foster were instrumental in helping to build the airport on Cayman Brac, which they both helped to finance. The clearing of the airstrip was done entirely by hand. Captain Charlie financed most of the houses that were built by seamen employed by NBC, as there was no bank on the Brac. He served as a vestryman for the Sister Islands in the Assembly of Justices and Vestry. Captain Charles Gerald Kirkconnell.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is ORRETT Connor and I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We're talking about Cayman Islands being under tropical storm warning here. That conversation is taking place with Mr. Simon Boxall, the Awareness and Communications Officer at Hazard Management Cayman. And as the various government departments issue bulletins, I will try to share them with you as well. This one is a public service announcement being disseminated on behalf of the Department of Environmental Health, and it reads that in preparation for the passing of Tropical Storm Grace, the Department of Environmental Health, that is DEH, is advising the public of the temporary suspension of residential and commercial garbage collection on Wednesday, the 18th of August 2021. The normal collection schedule is expected to restart on Thursday, the 19th. Any routes not completed by Friday will be undertaken on Saturday, the 21st, to close out the week. They also advised that the Georgetown landfill will be closed at 5 p.m. today and will reopen at 7 a.m. on Thursday, the 19th of August. DEH, they're asking members of the public for patience at this time, depending on the severity of the storm. The landfill and the landfill drop-off may be busy. To reduce congestion and waiting times at the landfill, DEH suggests waiting to dispose of any materials until after the all clear has been given. And if you want more information, you can contact the Department of Environmental Health's Solid Waste Management section. Their number is 949-8793. I repeat that again, 949-8793 or 949-6696. And I would add to that if you have just simple residential garbage, just your garbage, if you can possibly keep it inside in your garage or someplace, that would be the best thing to do to ensure that it is not scattered all over the place, either by water or by wind as well. Mr. Simon, anything you want to add to that?
I think that's absolutely right, yeah. And it could impact people's homes and properties and so on. So, yeah, if you can bring in some things that are outside, it's probably a bit late to trim back the trees at this point if you haven't done those. So hopefully they're not hanging over the wires that are kind of, potentially could come down if a tree falls. But yeah, I think it's probably realistic. There's a lot of work for those guys to do clearing debris. Mm-hmm. I think you will recall after Ivan, I think we had 2 years of trash suddenly upon us within a 48-hour period.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of trees, I guess if you have fruit trees, like avocado season is on now, some people are still fortunate to have mangoes. Pick them early, especially if they're fit. Pick them now.
That's great advice.
You may have a lot to give, because if they're all picked at the same time, they're all likely to ripen at the same time. But there will be persons out there who would appreciate the generosity who do not have fruit trees. So if your fruits are fit, pick them now.
Tough time for farmers when these storms come through.
Yes, it is.
So I would like to just jump in on one thing.
Sure, Sam.
So we're going to be activating the National Emergency Operations Center at 5 p.m.
Okay.
So I do want to ask people if they could just keep on staying kind of tuned over the next couple of hours, monitoring things, because things may change. I mentioned earlier a number of shelters we were opening. So, there's a possibility we could open more in Georgetown if that's needed. Mm-hmm. And I think at the moment, for instance, we're considering now opening Prospect Primary as well. So that's not confirmed yet, but things are kind of moving quickly. And with the storm being so close to being a hurricane in our area, that I think it's important that people stay tuned, because things could sort of change. And recognizing it doesn't give people a huge amount of time to plan, but that's just kind of the nature of them. Sometimes they just tend to be difficult to predict, and this one has been exactly that. I mean, we had it going north of Cuba.
Uh-huh. And then yesterday we started to see the changes. Yeah. What about the CERT teams that have been established in the various communities?
Yeah, they're particularly the Prospect one has been amazing, and they're mobilized. We've activated the CERT leaders to sort of put their people on standby.
Okay.
And so we're really glad now to have one in Little Cayman and Cayman Brac as well. Little Cayman being one of our most recent ones. We just had 40 people show up to CERT training in Northside, so that's great. Because I hear that they went for quite a few days after Ivan, like 10 days without much support from government. They were apparently eating out of the freezer that washed out of the over-the-head restaurant into the middle of the road. That's where they were eating some in the shelter, because there wasn't really that much food around. So yeah, it's reassuring to have these groups that can actually do the preparedness stuff before, as well as keep an eye on the elderly that we talked about, the vulnerable, try to support people that might need trips to the shelter or to get supplies at the supermarket. And just they have that training that they can feel confident about giving that search and rescue operation afterwards. If we get a tornado come through a neighborhood, we'll always look at the possibility of that. In hurricanes, 25% of hurricanes have tornadoes. But then also helping with our damage assessment. So they can feed back information to the NEOC. They have a radio, can talk directly to the NEOC, and then we can get a better sense of the communities that are most hard hit. And then they can also be a big support for when we set up the relief distribution sites. Hopefully we'll have tree lights and generators and a bit of, tables so we can get food and water to people that don't have any. So they're a tremendous resource. And then also we have the volunteer agencies, which potentially we got resources from the church and NGOs like Rotary and Kiwanis and Leos and Lions. And so yeah, the community, it's a real partnership. People I think hazard management probably has a response role. We do have the use of the regiment now as a kind of an operational capacity through the governor's office, but a lot of it is just partnering with all the different agencies. Like you mentioned the garbage, that's a critical emergency support team, debris clearance. You have shelter management, Ms. Paulinda and her team at DCFS, they have a big role. Police in there, mental health, Department of Environmental Health again. There's all these different sort of aspects of it. So it's kind of that coordinating mechanism where we make sure it all works, that people are ready, that the utilities are trying to get continually stronger and thinking about the issues. So yeah, we feel more ready than we have been probably, and I think COVID-19 has helped because we just had to meet so often. But it's always a challenge, and they're always unpredictable. We didn't expect the earthquake. We didn't expect the dump fire. We didn't expect COVID-19. We didn't really expect this hurricane, even though we knew it's going to be a busy season. Not hurricane, storm, hopefully. But that's why we try to do as much preparing as we can. But it's always a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Now, what do we say to persons in terms of? We know that there's so many vehicles on the roads of the Cayman Islands. We know that despite the fact that we may be in a severe weather condition, there are those persons who like to continue with business as usual. What do we say to them in terms of being off the road at certain times? If it's not necessary for you to be on the roads, just to simply stay put for the period of time that we're looking at. And what I'd also like you to explain to our listening and viewing audience, with the command center now being opened up and everything, what that means, what's that all about?
Okay, so there were two parts to your first question as well.
Yeah. I know I threw a lot at you at one time.
That's fine. So we were encouraging people, please give your staff and your employees a bit of time this afternoon particularly, to just get their house in order, get the supplies, get the water, get the shutters up if they want to, and that kind of thing. Secondly, in the aftermath, there's that period of time when possibly the wind drops out, and you're thinking, what's the matter with these people? Why haven't they issued the all clear? But then, then there's that backlog of people who have had possibly medical incidents during the period of the actual passage of the storm, and then you also have getting the crews out to clear the roads so that they're safe for people to get around. Or there might just be so much standing water and flood water. But typically there may be a need for clearance, search and rescue operations, and not every hurricane or storm warrants every aspect of the response mechanism. So they're going to be looking at it. But also what we see is once that wind drops out, potentially all clear issued, you could have water crossing, like we talked about, by the gully, salt water. That's not good for your car. Potentially a foot or two of water, your car's floating away, which potentially is a dangerous thing. But also, I just think that, so getting back to the other question, the NEOC.
Yes.
So they pull together and they are getting information in from the call center. People can call 949-655 once the NEOC stood up, so 5 o'clock. So if you need information, you can call. But they're getting information from a number of sources. 911, we might hear about road blockages, say up by over the edge of North Side, or trees down. Hopefully not any sort of criminal activity or looting, but we have like emergency response. We have teams of people set up in different areas to try to respond in.
Okay.
So you have debris clearance. They'll start considering what they're facing and try to plan strategically. You have emergency relief services, so looking at maybe how we need to help the population if people are being hit really hard. Resource support, what sort of supplies might be needed. The CERT deployments, and we can, if only one community, say East End, is hit, we might be able to redeploy CERT teams. The shelter operations, they're looking at all the aspects of the shelters, what are getting filled, what the resources are looking like, all these different aspects. So there's 18 of these support teams in the NEOC, and they're looking at all these different aspects. And search and rescue is one. So they may not all be really busy during the actual impact phase, but they may be rolling out in the aftermath.
Yes.
And so it could potentially, in a huge hurricane like the one you were kind of very important person in, it may be open for a couple of months, the NEOC, ensuring that, if that's what it takes to get us back up on our feet, because it's kind of a coordinated response from government, and we may have support coming from overseas or whatever, international aid, and we've got to be responsible with that. And so there's lots of aspects of it, and it's kind of an exciting place because you feel like you've got tremendous responsibilities for people's safety. A lot is kind of riding on your shoulders if you're in the NEOC, but generally I would say everybody takes the role very seriously. You also have these boards up, so you have a lot of information coming in on what we call WebEOC, which is like a internet-based system, but significant events will come in, like say a building gets washed out and it's in the road. So that's on the significant events board. And then you have tasks, action, mission tasking, and you know who's done what. So okay, well now the ambulances can get up to East End because they've cleared that. So, and then you have very high-level government figures. In a very serious event, you have like the governor and the premier sitting on top. As you saw in COVID, you had laws changing and regulations very quickly. So you have the Attorney General, the Accountant General who's got the purse strings, the budget if we need to finance the recovery. So there's a lot to it. You have the executive, like I said, on top. Then you have the policy group. Lots of questions, lots of confusion. How do you navigate clearly? And then you have these emergency support teams. And now the regiment.
Yes.
And then,
Okay. We have about 10 minutes left. I want you to give you an opportunity to rehash anything that was said before, and final comments and advising people again how to stay in touch, how to get information, credible information that is relevant to the Cayman Islands and coming from locally as opposed to from other sources.
Right. Thank you. So I'd encourage people to tune in to Radio Cayman. Like I said, we can hopefully do a better job of tracking the power failures and that kind of thing as they occur, give people a better sense of what's happening. We'll get reports coming in from the sister islands because they're likely going to be impacted before us. So government source of news, Radio Cayman, we really appreciate all the other media partners helping us getting our messages out. So we do submit information to them. But we're not likely to use the National Emergency Notification System in this instance. But we have our website, Cayman Prepared. We have an ultra-high frequency mobile handheld radio system, so we can talk to government departments, we can talk to Little Cayman, Cayman Brac, and the utilities. So that helps. We have satellite radio. We have the possibility of satellite internet communications, so we can talk to the naval ship if we need those assets. They're out there, HMS Medway and things. We have our internal communications in the NAOC, but in terms of people's messaging now, in terms of getting prepared, go on to Cayman Prepared, look at the checklist, make sure you've got batteries, flashlight, portable radio. It's too late to probably trim back trees, but if you can get gas in your car, fill it up, get a little extra cash out just in case. We're not really expecting hurricane force, but it doesn't hurt to shut her up. You never know. It could have a tornado associated with a hurricane.
If you're living in an area that is prone to flooding,
particularly,
you should take the extra precaution and move early. And those are the persons who would be, at this point in time, eligible to go into the shelters that you've indicated are open. And I'd like you to repeat
those. So
as well.
Definitely an emergency medical center in every district, bearing in mind that people with medical concerns, ambulance is not going to be running. So think about that and try to get into a shelter. So we have the William McLaughlin Civic Center in East End, Clifton Hunter North Side, Bodden Town Primary, the John Gray Gym, the Cayman Islands Red Cross building on Halder Avenue, and we're looking now at Prospect Primary, and then the John A. Cumber Primary School, Aston Ruddy is open, or shortly will be open in Cayman Brac, and the PWD building in Little Cayman. So low-lying areas, if you want to err on the side of caution, if you live on the coast, particularly in single-story dwellings, we're not expecting a large storm surge in this event, but 8 to 10-foot waves potentially have the possibility of causing some issues in some areas, but even those in low-lying areas prone to rainfall flooding, and getting cut off by the gully, which crosses out by Pedro if it passes to the south. Lots to think about.
That gully, we've never been able to resolve that.
It's tricky. Part of it is the depth of the water immediately offshore. It being so deep, it allows a very large wave. So if you have a wave can be a maximum of 1.5 times the depth of the water. So I think there's about 20 feet out there. So it could potentially lead to a 30-foot wave, which is a huge volume of water coming over.
Now, and again, I know we don't want to alarm people. We don't, we know what the system is like. It could get worse, but it is not likely to get that bad. Not certainly not an Ivan situation, but at the same time, if you're going to do something, it is important to do it now rather than during the course of whatever system it is that we have in place.
True. Try to get it done, I think, before sundown. I think that's a good point, if you can. So with the winds expected to arrive, tropical storm force, Little Cayman Brac at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Little Cayman, and then at 1 o'clock in the morning in Grand Cayman. It's getting to the point where, if you don't have your boat in safe harbor by sundown, it's probably too late to do anything about it. You may want to think about where you want to put your car, bearing in mind trees could fall and stuff. And floodwaters affect them. So yeah, try to get to the supermarket now, get some food, get some water, get the flashlight, get the batteries, because we could be looking at power failures for a while. But hopefully not. Hopefully not too many trees down, but we, like you say, I think it's not going to be this huge hurricane. We don't. The probabilities is a minute of that.
And our utilities companies, they have been pretty adept at getting things up and running fairly quickly. And as you pointed out, also the fact that we do have the regiment now, so we have that additional resource that we can call upon as well. That puts us in a much better place.
I think so. I mean, they certainly would assist with search and rescue. And they've got vehicles now that can get through pretty bad floodwater. Because I do remember reading that 911 report from Hurricane Ivan, and the calls from people. Yes. Like, oh my gosh, please come rescue me. Please. It was terrible. So we were so lucky only 2 people died in that event. But yeah, I think, we can't dismiss the threat. As we saw last year, tropical storm force winds brought down poles, brought down some trees. And this could be verging on the hurricane force. Yep. But not a massive threat, but a threat nevertheless. Yeah.
And you said as far as the seas are concerned, we're likely to get them more from the south?
I think so, but obviously a small change in track, if it passes to the north, you're more likely to get the west side exposed. But on the current forecast track, which takes it at the closest point of approach 13 miles southwest of Grand Cayman, it looks like that counterclockwise rotation will mostly cause the wind and the seas to come in on the south coast, or the big seas coming in on the south. But I don't think we can dismiss the possibility. And then obviously as it tracks west of us, one would expect that 7 Mile Beach, Georgetown Harbor will also open up. And last year I think we saw many boats wash ashore, so I hope people have taken that opportunity to get their boats safe this time. Really hope so.
Okay.
Thanks. I just want to thank you. Just encourage everyone to do what they can to just get ready. Yep. So even if you just go and buy a little bit of non-perishable food and water now, maybe in a couple of weeks we'll have an even more significant threat, and so you're a bit more ready. So let's take this as not necessarily a dry run, because it is a threat, but take the opportunity to get ready.
Yep.
Thanks again,
Simon. Thank you very much, for being here as well. And folks, follow the instructions, and the place that you want to tune in, the radio station that you want to tune into, if you want up-to-date information, right here on Radio Cayman. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue. I should have another guest in the studio, and if I do, I will introduce that guest to you shortly, so please stay tuned. Talk Today will be back shortly.
I've got some beautiful clothes, I know just where they go, Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners would like to remind customers the closing time for all stores is 5:30 p.m. Savannah Countryside, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Elgin Avenue, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Puritan Cleaners, 337 Eastern Avenue. Drive-through, rain or shine. 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Now 10% off prepaid on $20 orders and up. Household and wedding dresses remain at standard offer. 10% off on prepaid orders. Drop off and transfer for pickup from any of the 3 Puritan stores for your convenience. Call 949-7104. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
Optical Outlook Caymanian Village location has moved. Same great services and products, new location. We've moved to Anderson Square in central Georgetown. It's a much larger space with dedicated parking. Please call us on 746-2020 to make your appointment at our new location today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Please come see the difference with Optical Outlook, Cayman's premier optical provider.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years,
so much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands. If traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing vaccinecertification@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
This is an important message from the Cayman Islands Needs Assessment Unit for Grand Cayman residents. If you live outside of Georgetown and need NAU assistance, then the NAU in our district program could be for you. This month, the NAU will be providing walk-in services at the East End Civic Center on Friday, August 6th from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. At the Buddentown Public Library on Friday, August 13th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and at the West Bay Public Library on Friday, August 20th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Walk-in clients are asked to bring any supporting documentation along with them. For further details, email nauu.info@gov.ky or call 946-0024.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is ORRETT Connor and I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks this afternoon. On this segment of the show, we will be talking about the Cayman Islands School Health Program. That conversation will take place with Nurse Suzette McFarlane. And we will be talking about details, and she will be giving me details in relation to the Cayman Islands School Health Program. Now, some of you may ask, what is the Cayman Islands School Health Program all about? And I'll give you an overview of that. The School Health Program is coordinated by a public health nurse supervising a team of school nurses who provide direct services to public and private schools on the 3 islands, on our 3-island nation, right? The services offered by the program are health screening and immunizations, nutritional services, health education, dental health, and first aid management. These services are offered at all schools, and they come at various levels. So I'm not the expert. Miss Suzette McFarlane is the expert, so I'm going to hand the mic over to her. And first of all, let me say good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and everyone listening.
Okay, so tell us about the school health program.
Yes, I am nurse Suzette McFarlane. I'm a registered nurse employed at HSA, and I've been working in the school health for a number of years. 16 years. It's an awesome program that we have, which is school entry screening. The school entry screening is provided for all students who are entering school for the first time. These are all government schools, or all private schools. And so oftentimes it includes those children who are going into reception or into year one. Reception or kindergarten, depending on if it's a private school. And so the screening is done once before the child enters the school system. It is also for each child who's entered the Cayman Islands for the first time and will be entering our school system for the first time. So that can be various grades or year, either way. They're coming into the system, so they'll be screened as well. Okay, and that screening is mandatory. They're required to go through that screening. It is, yes. Okay. Yes, it's normally done during the summer vacation. So during the months of starting in June, we go to the outer districts. So we'll have scheduled appointments in the Eastern District. So East End for Eastern Primary, North Side for North Side Primary, and likewise for Bodden Town. And then we actually go as a team and do the screening in West Bay for the students who are going to the primary school there as well. During the months of July and August, we are based at John Gray High School, and we do the screening for all the other schools and a scheduled appointment. Yes. And how has the reaction and to those screenings and the acceptance of it by the parents and the students? It has been phenomenal. I think parents actually appreciate our program because with what we're doing and what we're assessing, it is the time when parents are actually being alerted with the abilities of their children, what the vision, their abilities of hearing, because as it is that we're doing the screening, if there are any things that we pick up, then we'll have to make referrals for speech therapy, vision testing, further investigations of whatever that may concern, or even the pediatrician. And they can follow up with the care that their child needs. In addition to that as well, they would have been up to date with the wonderful immunization program that we have. And so when the little one's coming for the screening between 4 and 5, then we're up to dating all the children with their vaccines as well. Yes. Okay. And how much does this cost a parent or a student? It is free to everyone, and whether you're entering the private schools or the public schools, so it's absorbed by the government. Thank you. Yes. The school entry screening provided for the public health nurses, school health nurses within the system, that is what is free. But another option is to have it done by the private physicians, the private pediatricians on island. And so if it is done by the child's private pediatrician, then the cost is specific to it's to the what their price is, so to speak. Okay, yes. But if I decide to go to a private practitioner, then I bear the cost, or yes, you bear the cost base because it's a private entity. Choice. Okay, yes. Okay. Now there are various levels. I note. Can we talk about those various levels? Oh, yes, as what the screening entails. Okay, yes. Yes. So it is to do with a holistic growth and development assessment, right? So we're wanting to know what the weight and the height is. We want to guide the parents as to how they've been growing up. If it is that they're overweight, underweight, or just to have the parents understand that their BMI or if they're in the normal range, what is expected for weight and height. In addition to that, as I earlier mentioned, the vision and hearing, that is specific as well too. The dental check is also done by our dental staff, and they can have continuation of care also from when they're in school. But if there's anything picked up, that can be referred as well. And the immunization, which is a vital part of the immunization program to continue. Okay. I want to make sure.
So I note one of the levels, and you probably have spoken about this already, but we can focus a little bit more. A level 4 service. Services are provided by a registered nurse at a school-based health center in government high school.
Yes, so we are located at John Gray High School. That is where we are actually carrying out the screening during the months of July and August. Yes.
And level 3 service at this level is provided at all government schools where there is not a school-based nurse. Daily visits are conducted by registered nurses.
Okay, so this is speaking about the school health program throughout the year.
Yes.
Yes. There are a number of schools that have a registered nurse who is there for most of the day, or all of the day. That's John Gray and Clifton Hunter. They have a school a nurse who's based there for all of the day, 5 days a week. However, there's a second post of visiting nurses who travel and visit the other schools throughout the week on a scheduled basis. Yes. For the outer districts as well, it is new within the program, which has been extended to offer a nurse who's actually visiting the outer districts more regularly as well. Yeah, so it's been expanded as well to the outer districts, the Eastern District and the Western District as well.
Okay, now this one may be a little bit off topic, but I think it's important as well. There's been a debate going on in the Cayman Islands now in relation to the government's announcement of free meals for students. Can you speak about the importance of nutrition in the school, children having early, ensuring that they have a good breakfast so that they're not distracted, and how important those things are from a nutritional standpoint?
Such a vital thing. Thank you for bringing that up. So as a school nurse working among the children, that is one of the headlines of what we provide. And health sessions is something that we do on a daily basis, from one extreme to the next. And the nutrition of the child is something that we focus on, all of us, on a daily basis. And that is through encouragement. Even with the screening as well, too, a part of it is wanting to speak to the parent about it. So after taking the weight and height, for example, we want to know, well, are they eating from all of the food groups? Are they having their fruits and vegetables? We're encouraging them to drink lots of water throughout the day. And it doesn't matter what the age of the child is. There are things that are recommended, and for example, discouraging the sweets, discouraging the sugary and greasy stuff. And so within school as well, we want for them to continue this because, of course, as parents, we are providing for the children. We want for them to be in the greatest capacity to learn on a daily basis, and so they must be well nourished. And so as a part of the screening, we do have a chat with the parents to understand where they're at. And if it is that they're having any uncertainty, at that point we can make a referral to nutritionists just to say, you can go in and have a more detailed, specific conversation with tools that they can use to help them, especially when it comes to making better choices within the foods that they're purchasing for their child.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break now. Folks, let me make sure I get this mic in front of me. We're going to take a commercial break. Folks, we're talking about the Cayman Islands School Health Program, and of course, school will commence, sometime in September? Late August, sometimes in September. We know in the United States and other jurisdictions, sometimes it takes place early. In some states, it's after Labor Day as well. Here in the Cayman Islands, we're looking about the first week in September. And, we are graced with the presence of Nurse Suzette McFarland, who is, should I say, in charge of the whole school health program as well, the coordinator?
A member of the school health team.
She's a member of the team. I just gave her a promotion. I'm not sure if it comes with an increased salary, but I just gave you a promotion. So we will continue to talk. One of the things that I want to ask her also has to do with the fact that sometimes parents or a child may be deemed to be falling back in an area. Maybe it may be reading, it may be something else. And there's something that is not so obvious to the parent, but during these screening programs and this process that you have, it may just come to light and solve a problem that no one knew existed.
Absolutely.
And I'd like you to talk about that as well. So folks, please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, there are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Grand Cayman Civil Service Association members, present and retired. The final backpack distribution day is Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. If you have not collected your 2 backpacks previously, then this is your opportunity. Just a reminder, members, please check your salary slip or HR person to assure your membership fee is updated. Retirees, check your records for your 2020-2021 fee receipt. Please bring an ID for collection. And if you are collecting for another member, please bring a signed note and copy of their ID as well. That's the final backpack distribution day, Saturday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We hope to see you then. CISA, members serving members.
The CISA office is located upstairs Hospital Road Plaza.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Cistern water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use after a hurricane. Simply leave the water for 1 minute after it begins to boil, or to disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard.
And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. ORRETT Connor filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me, newly promoted Nurse Suzette McFarlane. She is a member of the nursing team that deals with the school health program throughout the 3 islands in the Cayman Islands. Those are, if you don't know the 3 islands, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. And we're talking about the program. Before we went to the commercial break, I wanted her to talk about the fact that these screenings and that are done sometimes can reveal issues that persons who are not specialists or experts in a particular field may not know about. While we were off air, I was telling her that in my days of growing up, we never heard of something called ADD. You know, if a child was, disruptive or, difficult to get their attention, people said, oh, he's a troubled child. That one is trouble. That one is trouble. Now, we're in an age where we not only can diagnose, but sometimes even predict. Yes. As well. But
yes.
you're the guest here today. I'm going to let you do the talking.
Absolutely. And so likewise, too, we'll have parents who come in for the screening. And after having the vision test, the parent would have thought, you know what? I was wondering if the child was just not paying attention or not listening. The hearing test would have revealing that there is a significant problem there. Further on, too, during the school year, we work very closely as school nurses with the support team as well. And so even with the special needs coordinator as well. So sometimes the teachers will pick up things that are happening within the students and they're wondering what's happening and then have to have an assessment. But oftentimes, of course, the nurses are involved as well because then we need to rule out, well, why is the child not paying attention? Why is it that they're not seeming to be focused? Is it there's something wrong with the vision or is it something wrong with the hearing? Let's see what's happening. And so we are always involved as a team and in support of the school to actually make those assessments and to forward those information, because moving from there, if those are ruled out, then they can make further assessment from there to understand what the situation is. Likewise, too, while they're screening, because we're speaking about the nutrition of the child, we're speaking about whether or not they're resting well, different things as to what's going on. Is there insomnia? Is there restlessness? What is hindering the child getting a proper sleep at nights? And what time are they going to bed? We know it's summer vacation now, but it's just to give the parents a guideline that bedtime around 8, 9 o'clock is what's sufficient for the child to get enough rest so that they can actually be in a better situation to learn, focus, and concentrate while they're in school. Simple thing as well, too, we'll assess this child's speech every time. And oftentimes looking in the mouth, we ask them to stick the tongue out, we look at the throat, and we ask them to lift the tongue. And we have discovered so many times that the reason why the child is having a lisp is oftentimes because there's a tie tongue. Sometimes it's completely unrelated, but just to say in those situations, the parent would have thought, oh, I'm going to listen, and then we can move from there with referrals so the child can actually get further help or further care. Or is it that there isn't a tie tongue, but they need to be referred to the speech therapist? And so moving from there, a lot is being determined. We assess a child too just through observation. What is their attention span like? How they interact. Are they following instructions? Are they able to follow command? And those things are things that we're all investigating. Now, the school entry screening is a half an hour by appointment. So as school nurses, we are on par with just developing a rapport with the child so that we can, move through with the assessment. We are a small team, school nurses, and we are a strong team. We are headed by, our department is headed by Nurse Joanna Rose Wright, and our school health coordinator is a lovely Mrs. Nurse Carvel Abel. And the school nurses that are working within the schools is myself, Suzette McFarlane. We have Jennifer Wacker, Nurse Sarah Cayasso, Nurse Isaacs, and Nurse Jennifer Thompson. So as a team, we really work well within the private schools and the public schools to deliver the care that we can throughout the school year. And then during the latter part of the school term, we focus on the screening.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, curious about the screening, and when something has been recognized in terms of a student, a child, how quickly does the process work in terms of getting that child referred as quickly as possible? How does the system work?
That is a great question, because on point at the screening, we write the referral and we give the referral. So, for example, say it is that the child has failed their vision test. We write the referral then, and we strongly suggest now it's the parents that take the referral. They make the appointment with the optician of their choice. And then moving from there, whatever the assessment is, and oftentimes it may be needing reading glasses or other measures of such.
Yes.
So how do I know that they've actually done it? So school starts. And majority of the time, of course, the parents would have gone through with an appointment and the child would have been assessed and moving forward from there. But then it could be picked up again just early in the term because it just means that I'll have to follow up as school nurses. Well, how did it go? Did you get to see the doctor? What did the doctor say? And so we follow up with that, because then we want to know how we can support the child who's there, or if it is a reminder where the appointment is concerned. If it hasn't been picked up, then usually the teachers are then referring to us as nurses to say, can you check the vision? I think maybe there's something going on, or can you make an assessment? And then realizing that we've already made the assessment, we just have to follow up with the parents so that they can make the next move for their child.
Okay. How responsive are persons, and now that we're reaching that stage where we're a few weeks away from returning to school, how busy are you, and how busy are you, and do you have a message out there for those persons who need to come in?
Yes, absolutely, yes. It is definitely very busy right now, as it is coming down to the end of the screening, which usually is coming down to the end of August. We would have parents who might have missed the appointments, or for those who probably got registered a bit later. If your child has not been screened as yet, we ask that you call 244.
Okay. Go ahead, Nurse McFarlane. I think we're okay now. We're competing with another radio station. Sounds like.
Oh my.
Yeah. Okay. Should we continue to talk, DJ Lynn? Yeah. Go ahead, Nurse.
All right.
Sure. Why don't we? Since we're top of the hour, we'll take the break now, and she's going to remain until at least 2:15. So, folks, having a little technical difficulty, we're going to try to clear that up on the break. Don't change the dial. Please stay tuned. It's still Radio Cayman.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The latest bulletin is down this hour from the National Weather Service, and it shows that Tropical Storm Grace is continuing to take a more southerly course. On the forecast track, the center of Grace will continue to move near the northwest coast of Jamaica this afternoon, moving just southwest of Grand Cayman late tonight and early Wednesday, and then approach the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico late tomorrow. A flood and marine warning is also in effect. At the latest check, the storm was located at 18.5 degrees north, 77.5 degrees west, which is about 259 miles east of Grand Cayman and 172 miles east-southeast of Cayman Brac. It's moving west at about 16 miles per hour with max winds of 50 miles per hour. Meanwhile, folks in the Sister Islands are running a tight ship. District Commissioner of the Sister Islands, Mark Tibbetts.
And we're happy to report that the essential staff within the Sister Islands have made great progress over the past day or two in our preparations, and we're most confident that the Sister Islands will be well prepared.
The Aston Ruddy Centre shelter in Cayman Brac will open from 6 p.m. tonight, while the shelter in Little Cayman will be available. Just contact the district officer there to make arrangements.
I want to also just remind our residents within the Sister Islands to please do ensure you make your personal preparations as we await the arrival and impact from Tropical Storm Grace later this evening. Please do stay safe and continue to monitor our local government media sources.
And that means keep it locked right here to Radio Cayman.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public could say.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. My name is ORRETT Connor. I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. We're talking about the Cayman Islands School Health Program. That conversation has taken place with Nurse Suzette McFarlane, who's one of the team members involved with school health, with the School Health Aid Program. So we're coming up to where school will soon be opening again, and I'm going to ask Nurse McFarlane to repeat what she was telling us early before we had the technical difficulties.
Yes, thank you. For any parents who have not had their schedules, sometimes it is that they've had a late registration, or they might have missed an appointment. If it is that your child has, it's you can call for an appointment this week. The number to call is 326-4890.
326-4890.
Or 326-4882.
326-4882.
And we will schedule an appointment. The first appointment is at 8:30 in the morning, and we work down through till 12 p.m. We restart again after the lunch break at 2 o'clock, and our appointments go to the latest is 3:30. So we do have some open space that we've to accommodate those who have missed their appointment, so they can call and make an appointment, and we can try to schedule in this week.
And please don't wait for the last moment to do it.
Minute now. Yes. And for those who might not have actually caught the screening, it would mean then we'll have to continue with the screening when school starts.
Okay. Yes.
Anything
else that you want to tell us?
Absolutely, yes. So the immunization program is very important part of the screening.
Okay.
And so for parents who are bringing their children in for the screening, we ask that they come with the immunization record, because it's always good to be up to date with your copy of what your child's immunization status is at. And so we'd want to sign the immunizations that we've given so that your copy is up to date. Yes.
Okay. And you wouldn't certainly want to be immunizing someone a second time if they've already had it.
Absolutely not. We won't. Yes, we'll have to have that verified first before we go ahead and signing once we have.
Okay. Yes. Now you were talking. You were giving a big shout out to all of your colleagues in the program.
Absolutely.
Again. You mentioned one name there, Nurse Thompson.
Nurse Jennifer Thompson. Okay. Yes, we have Jennifer Thompson, Jennifer Wacker, Sarah Cayasso. We have Christine Isaacs, myself, Suzette McFarlane, and we're headed by a super phenomenal supervisor who is the school health coordinator, Nurse Carville Bailey.
Okay, and I'm sure you're quite popular with the students in the school.
Yes, we are. Yes, Nurse Thompson is based at John Gray High School. Nurse Isaacs is based at Clifton Hunter. Nurse Wacker, Nurse Cayasso, and myself, we are in the community, and we move between all the other schools. So we have each about 8 schools.
Okay.
Yes.
So you kept very busy.
We're all kept very busy, and we're loving it. Yes, it's an awesome program.
Okay. Again, anything that you want to repeat, to our listening audience in relation to these to this program and what needs to be done. If, for instance, a child is moving into the public school system from let's say preschool and moving into the new system,
yes,
what would they normally go through?
Yes, so moving in, they would have to go through the education department to register to the school that they want to go to, and once they're approved, then the list will go to the secretaries of each school, and that is how we get the list of all the children who need to be screened. Initially, the appointments are made by the secretaries of the school, and then the sheets are sent to us, and then we continue from there. Yes, the public schools likewise, and the private schools. Yes. For this year, things are a little bit different, where the private schools have been screened by the pediatricians. Yes.
Okay. Want to make sure that we haven't missed anything.
No, because importantly too was to bring the immunization record with the child. We've had an off case as well too, where the parents showed up and didn't bring the child.
Okay. How did that one work out?
I think they misunderstood, but that's fine. So come to the screening. You can come 5 minutes before your time with your child.
Yeah. Make
and
sure
the
you bring the
immunization
child.
record, and we're ready to go.
Don't forget the child. Please don't forget the child.
I think it was just a slight misunderstanding.
Either or that parent wanted to go back to school. They wanted to substitute themselves for the child.
Okay. It was quite a good part of our day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but it's an awesome program, and we just encourage the parents, that once we've had a screening and anything detected, we just encourage them to really move fast with whatever the referral is, so the child can be in the best position for their education.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any advice that you have to give to any aspiring nurse, any student who feels that they want to get into the field of nursing? Any advice that you have for them?
It is phenomenal. I have a passion for nursing, and it is the way to go. It's such a fulfilling post to have, and to deliver care to your community. It is just heartwarming to know that you can make an impact in someone's life towards making them helping them towards their health and encouraging their wellness. It goes unnoticed, yes.
And in this day and age with COVID-19 and everything else, we see that there's a huge demand internationally for nurses.
Yes.
What is it that has kept you here in the Cayman Islands rather than being, attracted to the lure of going somewhere else with the possibility probably of even more enhanced remuneration as well?
I know, because this is my home, and this is my community, and of all I can do to help or to assist and to encourage, I'd like to do that here. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes,
And you and as far as the program is concerned, you did all of your nursing education here or overseas as well?
No, I did my nursing education at University Hospital of the West Indies.
Mm-hmm,
I did my bachelor's there, and I did my master's with ICCI, which is a master's in management.
Excellent. So you will be a coordinator, at some point in time. Then, if you have a master's in management, I'm sure that you want to move up the field as well. Yes. Well, I want to thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We might have let me just check. Okay. Yeah. This person said wants to ask if there are mandatory early childhood testing assessments to determine any learning disabilities in children when they start school, whether or not there's any other than the medical assessment, whether or not any other assessments are done. I know we did speak about the fact that there are times when persons don't recognize what disability a child may have, and this is brought out in the in the
there's
assessment.
the early intervention program, which is not to do with us at HSA, but that is a program that is offered in a preschool level, outside of the hospital's provision, and so oftentimes things that are picked up in a preschool, some of the children have actually been a part of that program already, and we can actually encourage things and from there. Yes.
Excellent.
So as a team, we support each other and for the best interest of the child. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And again, I just wanted to go over this part of it, because I know people sometimes can be critical, about processes, and you have made it quite clear that when a referral is necessary, when you have identified an issue, you or your colleagues have identified an issue, you don't pass the buck on to someone else. Right then and there, you start the process. Can you tell us again what that process is?
Yes. So we write the referral with a detail of what our findings are based on our assessment, and when we're doing the hearing tests, it is used with the audiometer, so what the reading is, with the vision test as well. Likewise, we make a detailed written information from our assessment, and then that's given to the parent. Once the parent has received that, they're advised then to make an appointment with the specialist, and that's whomever. Is it the speech therapy? Is it the optician? Is it ENT? Is it the pediatrics? Is it the dentist? And so we're depending on the parents then to make the next move, to take their child for further investigations, so that the care can continue from there.
And that almost serves as a second opinion as well, by referring them to the specialist.
Absolutely, yes. For those, earlier you just made mention of the preschool. I just wanted to say too that even though we're school nurses within the primary and the high school, private and public schools, our school health coordinator actually oversee the preschools in addition to that. And so when it comes to inspections and making sure that they're up to par with certain requirements from a health perspective, that is something that's fallen under school health as well. Yes.
Okay. Yes. I must say that this generation, certainly in my generation growing up, we didn't have all of those amenities.
Yes. I want to say to the parents too, as we're coming close towards the end of summer, getting things ready, going through the list of the supplies that we need for school. It's around this time as well now, because I know that, everything was up in the air with what time you go to bed and, what you're eating. Sometimes, the provision or the treats because of the functions and the events that you're attending. It's time now just to sort of get things back on track if they haven't been. So recommended that children should be this week getting into bed by 8:30, so that they're getting into the system of what is expected throughout the school year. Ensuring they're drinking lots of water. Yes. It is so hot.
Yes.
We need to keep them hydrated. We need to keep hydrated and to encourage them to have their meals, from balanced meal, meaning food from all the food groups. And if they're not having the vegetables and the fruits, it are nice ways of getting in, like with a smoothie, make it exciting and make it tasty.
And stay away from the junk food.
And stay from the junk food. And during the holidays, we need to get the activities up, of course. It's nice and easy to just kind of have a game in front of you, but we can break that trend by walking the dog, riding the bicycle, a walk around the neighborhood and things like that, or just get up with a jumping with a rope or skipping, jumping jacks, make fun activities within the family, so that we keep us very active and healthy.
And any advice for those young children who are transitioning from one school to the other, likely to meet new friends or hoping to meet new friends?
Excited, and yes, and for those little ones who now are going to big school to be with their siblings, they're looking forward to that as well. They're very exciting. Usually this transition for them is really, really good. They have friends, their cousins, and just meeting new students. The socializing is really good too, and
in my days,
I'm sure they're looking forward to it.
In my days, it was going from short pants to long pants.
Big boy. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, Nurse McFarlane, I want to thank you very much, and thank you and your colleagues for the excellent job that you do to ensure that our
we love what we do.
Children are in the best of shape as well. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break.
Thank
we
you.
will have 15 minutes of open mic if you want to call in. If not, I will continue to share with you what we have in relation to the tropical storm that is heading our way. So please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Census 2021. Came on, get ready. Census starting 10th of October 2021. Census information is secret. Census 2021. Census starting October 10th. 2021. Census 2021. Census. 2021 Census. Everyone counts.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Sometimes it's just not possible to outrun the wind. I'm Sidani Mothercell, encouraging you to do the right thing. Prepare in advance. For more information about hurricanes and what you should do, go to caymanprepared.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We have an open mic now and we do have a caller. I will take that caller in a moment. I just want to share with you, one of our listeners wanted to know about the situation as far as the DEH is concerned, and I want to be able to share that with you. I'm just trying to find it. Here we go. Okay. So the release that was issued by DEH, it states that in preparation for the passing of Tropical Storm Grace, the Department of Environmental Health, DEH is advising the public of the temporary suspension of residential and commercial garbage collection on Wednesday, the 18th of August, 2021. The normal collection schedule is expected to restart on Thursday, the 19th. Any routes not completed by Friday will be undertaken on Saturday, the 21st, to close out the week. Also, the Georgetown landfill will be closed at 5 p.m. today. So the landfill closes at 5 today and will reopen at 7 a.m. on Thursday, the 19th of August. The DEH is also asking members of the public for patience at this time, and depending on the severity of the storm, the landfill and the landfill drop-off may be busy. So to reduce congestion and waiting times at the landfill, DEH suggests waiting to dispose of any materials until after the all clear has been given. If you want additional information, you can call them at 949-8793, 949-8793 or 949-6696. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Osea. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine. How are you, sir?
Yes, I just got back from work and just giving you an update on the conditions in Cayman Gulf. We had the winds 15 to 20 knots, and I see a very large cloud formation to the southeast of Cayman Brac. I could detect effects of it from actually last night, but the cold air coming in, the cool air coming in from the southeast, and the sea is affected on the south side, definitely seeing that it's approaching. And that 18.5, the last latitude, Georgetown is 1913 north, so that means it has to come another 43 miles to line up with Georgetown, and by the time it gets down, it will be very close to Grand Cayman. So I'm wishing you all the very best, and for everybody to take precautions and be very extremely careful, and wishing you all down there in Grand Cayman all the very best.
Okay.
We are faced with something again, but it's not a severe one, but these weak storms can produce high winds that will tear down things that you would never think possible.
They can be deceptive,
Also can bring severe seas as well, not because it's just blowing 45, I think was the last, and they expect it could go up to 60 or even more. And these things can have twisters in them, and the gusts of winds that can reach way beyond what they're predicting of 45 miles an hour. So for people to be extremely careful, get all your boats in, whatever you have to do, get it in and get your things prepared before the last minute. And I can see very heavy rain to the southeast of Cayman Brac now on the sea. And it's gusty winds all over Cass here now.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, caller.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay.
Yes, and anyone from the radio station or the meteorological office or anywhere can call me during to get information, because I'll be at home and I'll be concerned about you all down there, what's taking place, and you can contact me at 927-7156. I'm the emergency rescue personnel when it comes to seamen at sea in trouble, and you can call me for anything at any time.
Okay, thank you very much, caller, for that as well. I haven't let Nurse McFarlane leave yet, because she did mention something about dental appointments and things of that nature as well, and she feels that is really a crucial an important, part of the screening system as well. So I know you want to talk a little bit about that before you leave.
Yes, thank you. As a part of the screening with Health Services Authority, so we're offering the school entry screening, and of course we spoke about the length of all of the assessment. But I would just want to emphasize that a very vital part of that assessment is the services that the dental department offer, and these members of staff are the dental nurses. They work within the community at the schools, and so this is a good time for them to actually meet the students and have their initial assessment of each child as well. So that is going into the dental area and having a full assessment of their teeth. Oftentimes, of course, this is when things are picked up from that part of things, and referrals are made if they need further work to be done, cleaning, and then they take the time to encourage the parents as well, where brushing is concerned and types of food to eat and that kind of stuff. And then the parents can relate to them to what challenges they may be having and that they can advise. And then the dental nurses now continue with the services in the schools as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it is a vital part of the screening.
Okay.
I know I mentioned it earlier, but I scanned over it. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Randa Bartis and Mr. Fabian and Miss Anne-Marie Douglas and Nurse Jackson. We worked really, really close during all of the summer for the screening of the children. And as a team, we work wonderfully.
Excellent. Thank you very much again for
You're
that.
welcome.
Okay. So, folks, we have another release from the National Hazard Management Council, and this one speaks, I'll read it verbatim for you. National Hazard Management Council announced today that non-essential government offices on Grand Cayman closed at 2 p.m. today. That is today, Tuesday, the 17th of August, 2021, in advance of the passage of Tropical Storm Grace throughout the Cayman Islands area. Government offices on Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, which will feel the storm's impact some hours earlier than Grand Cayman, closed at noon. At 1 p.m., the tropical storm is currently located at latitude 18.5 north and longitude 77.5 west, 259 miles east of Grand Cayman and 172 miles east-southeast of Cayman Brac. It is moving west at 16 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. The National Weather Service currently expects the sister islands will experience tropical storm force wind and rain slightly later than previously predicted. From about 9 p.m. tonight. Meanwhile, severe weather conditions are predicted to reach Grand Cayman earlier than forecast by 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So 1 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're expected to see severe weather conditions in Grand Cayman. Acting Deputy Governor Gloria McPhail Nixon notes that the most recent weather information suggests the potential for the tropical storm to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane as it is departing, but still within close proximity to the Cayman Islands area. Ms. McPhail Nixon says that the National Hurricane Management Council is closely monitoring the progress of the storm over the next few hours, and it is possible that a hurricane warning could be issued later today. She's quoted as saying, "I cannot emphasize strongly enough the importance of people finishing their preparedness measures." Lost some of that. Their preparedness measures as soon as possible and taking all necessary precautions until Tropical Storm Grace has completed its passage through our area. This includes having a 3-day supply of water, non-perishable food, and necessary supplies at hand, but also immediately assessing the safety of your residents and determining if it is suitable to ride out the storm or alternatively where you will shelter. We also recommend that persons have a battery or solar-powered radio with them so that they can stay informed even if the power goes out, she concludes. Members of the public are advised to avoid shorelines and refrain from non-essential travel after dark or by 7 p.m. Accordingly, the National Hurricane Management Council advises the residents to complete their storm preparedness measures within this time frame in mind. National Emergency Operations Center will coordinate with the Cayman Islands the Cayman Islands response to a national disaster. Will begin our operation at 5 p.m. and work past the all clear. Its helpline, the helpline is 949 6555 will be operated by members of the Cayman Islands Cadet Corps from 3 p.m. until stood down. Mental health telephone number 1-800-534-6463 will also be operating from 9 until 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. It speaks about persons staying away from the shores, and we know we have some daredevils and we have some people who like to display a certain element of stupidity by going out there and trying to ride waves and all of those things. Just please bear in mind that when you do that, you're not only putting yourself at risk, but you're also putting at risk those persons who will potentially have or possibly have to come out there and rescue you as well. So please do not do anything stupid. Remain within your homes unless you have to be out there in either an emergency capacity or otherwise. Ensure that you get all of your supplies before so that you do not have to go out as well. And please wait for the all clear. So residents, citizens of the Cayman Islands, all 3 islands, please be safe, follow the instructions, continue to listen to your local radio stations. In particular, listen to Radio Cayman, where you will continue to get the most current information as far as this tropical storm is concerned. With that, folks, I say to you, please stay safe, have a great day, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands, especially in these dire times as well.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers